Yeah, this is the first story building in Nigeria. That's what you're looking at right now. I'm going to take a tour of it. We're going right inside. We're looking at the down first, then we'll go see what the up is like. Okay, just like a sitting room. Okay, okay, let's see the inside. Okay,
Good morning, sir.
this is good morning.
Yes, sir. My name
This
is
is our tour guide.
my
Your
name is
name,
Mr. Ezekiel.
Mr. Ezekiel. Oh,
I work for the Diocese of Badagry,
okay, Badagry Diocese.
the Anglican Communion Church of Nigeria.
Okay,
Because this story building, it's built by CMAs and missionaries
okay,
from England, building the house in 1845. So the CMAs, they are
1845.
the one we also call the Anglican, building this story building. And all their priests from England. This is the residence house for them in Nigeria. So they build this house and they call it mission house or vicarage, where the priest actually stay. Now, this house built by Reverend C.A. Goman in 1845. Reverend Goman being in charge of the construction of the building in 1845. But since 1845, we are now in 2021. This story building is now 176 years old now. Materials used to build this house was brought from England. Although here they mention to us that these materials called the Pond bricks since 1842, but brought from England. Now, these materials called the iron corrugated sheet used for the roof of the building since 1842, and this also was brought from England. They also mentioned to us that the nails since 1842 also was brought from England, and this is the present our own nail we made in Nigeria, and this is the ones from England. Then we're seeing the engines used and to mount the door since 1842, and bricks since 1842, nails since 1842. All these materials that we are talking about today, all the materials was brought from England since 1842. Now supplied by a company in England called Sheffield Department, supplying them the materials used to build this house. Inside of this building, we have 6 bedrooms. Inside of this building, we have 2 sitting rooms. Inside of this building, we have 4 store inside of this building. But we didn't mention about toilet, and we did not mention about kitchen and bathrooms, because kitchen, toilet, and bathroom were built outside of the building. So we are moving to next rooms and seeing what we also have inside of the rooms. Then we see the full length of these materials used for the roofing. And you can see this since 1842. Very heavy. And these materials used for the roofing of the building. And that's materials since that time. But look at the present materials, the one that we made now in Nigeria. So we try to compare.
Can you try to lift that? Let's see what the difference is.
Yes, sir.
Can you try to lift that one? Let's see what the difference is.
This,
Okay, that's very light
yes, sir.
compared to the original one.
This
Okay,
is the ones used for
okay,
just uses it. So these are the plank. So we take another move to the big sitting room for the missionary. This is the sitting rooms for those missionaries. And this is the painting of a tree called the Agia tree. Under this tree, Christianity was first proclaimed in Nigeria in September 1842. And the first Christmas was first celebrated in December 1842 when gospel started in Nigeria. First started under this tree. When Christmas first celebrated in December 1842,
42.
first celebrated under the tree in 1842. This very tree is no more standing anymore in Badagry because the tree fell on the 20th June 1959. It was replaced with this monument. That is the monument did at the point of the tree. But two Reverend missionaries preached under the tree, celebrated Christmas under the tree. They mentioned their name, Reverend Thomas Birch Freeman from Wasteland Missionaries. They also mention about Reverend Henry Townsend from the CMS missionary. Both Anglican and the CMA, both Anglican and Methodist preach together under the tree. So the full meaning of CMA is Church Missionary Society. They are the one they call Anglican. So Anglican and Methodist celebrated the first Christmas on that tree. So this is just a comment of one of the reverend that said this house is strong and convenient and will prove very comfortable. During the erection, many persons have come to see it, especially of the single roof. It's been the first I have ever seen. The man is just talking about what he has seen about this building, and people are coming to this building to see the structure of this house. Since that time, 1845, they built the house. Then this is the picture of the Christmas celebrated in 1923. But it's being wrote on the chest of the black, while the white wearing the white coat and sit down. So those are not wearing clothes, being on half naked. They work for those white as slaves. But when those white want to celebrate Christmas, they called their staff of the company, called the African Oil Nurturing Company, to stand at their back. And they wrote something on the chest of those staff. And they wrote 1923, Badagry, Merry Christmas on their chest. And this showed the celebration of Christmas in 1923. So people were seeing these pictures talking about that, oh, is this slavery still going on in 1923? Yes, slavery is going on to date because we are in after the abolition, after the stop slave trade in in Africa, in Nigeria in 1888. So they introduced the modern days slavery to us, and this is the beginnings of the modern day slavery to date. So we are moving to the next chapter. This is the room of the first Western teacher, and this is the name of the teacher called Mr. Claudius Phillips, 1845 to 1868. Name of the first primary school in Nigeria was St. Thomas Primary School, establishing in 1845 with 40 men. Men that started the primary school, men that going to school then, not children and not women, started the first primary schools. Only adults started the primary schools. This is the pictures of the teacher that actually teach those 40 men in school, as at that time in 1845 when the school was established. But this is the picture of the school established in 1845, and that's the school the 40 men attend. The 40 men that we are talking about, the first teacher giving out their age, that the age of the youngest among students started primary school, his age is 45 years. And the age of the oldest among students that started primary school then, his age is 58 years. That he also stood out that each one of them, before finish primary school, they spent 12 years in primary school. So when we added 12 years to age of those students, they are close to 70 before each one of them finished primary school. But not all of them finished the first primary school. So only few of them that finished the first primary school. That is the 32 of them finished the first primary school. But what happened to eight? Eight have died due to the age. So we're going upstairs now to see the roof of a man called Bishop Samuel Ajayi Crowder.
Mhm.
That's where we're going to send the first English Bible. But here we see the picture, we see the total estimate of the cost, the amount of the money used and to build this house. But a man that built the story building told us that this house is built of sound of African wood, principally of what we call brimstone. It is 10 feet raised from the ground on 26 stout and durable tree called a garbe tree and a species of coconut tree and on 9 other smaller trees. It is 44 feet in length and 26 feet in breadth and wide. It is estimated to cost 325 pounds. Quote by the man that built the story building, Reverend
Reverend
Goldman.
Goma.
So we're going on this staircase. We are going up to see the room of a man called Ajayi Kada. But this staircase was renovated in 1990. Include of this plank in the front here.
This
So
portion.
yes, but all these
All these
planks,
other ones are the
all
original
other
one.
ones, this one, the white, they are original
Were the
ones
ones
since
built in.
1842.
So okay.
So we're going to step in on this and to show, I mean to say how it was drilled. This is the first English Bible the missionary brought to started preaching the gospel, and they used the Bible to celebrate the first Christmas in Nigeria. Who brought the Bible to Nigeria? Reverend Harry Townsend brought the Bible to Nigeria on the 17th December 1842. But who translated the English Bible into Yoruba? And this picture of the man, Bishop Samuel Ajayi Crowther. So Bishop Samuel Ajayi Crowther happened to be a slave, but he was taken as a slave at the age of 12 years and sold to Portuguese. But British Navy stopped ship of those Portuguese and returning those slaves back to Africa. So now, instead of the ship to land where it take off in Africa and Nigeria, the ship dumped those slaves in Freetown. And those slaves work in Freetown and being trained by the white Reverend missionary. Ajayi is being trained by the white Reverend missionary called Crowther. This Crowther is a priest, but they baptized Ajayi and gave Ajayi a name called Samuel. He sent Ajayi to school, and Ajayi attended a school in Sierra Leone, Popo Arabic College. Ajayi graduated the school. Ajayi was sent to School of Theology. Ajayi became a reverend in England. So their team were returning back to Africa and to country where they actually come from. I'm talking about those slaves. But who returning Ajayi back home? It was Reverend Henry Townsend returning Ajayi back home. That's the man that brought the first English Bible. But they using Ajayi to doing the work of interpreter, and later Ajayi translated the English Bible into Yoruba Bible. And this is the first Yoruba Bible printed in London by this company, Lower and Brydon Printer Limited. Yoruba Bible is 176 years old now. Why English Bible is 179 years. Ajayi later was ordained as a bishop in 1861. But when Ajayi ordained as a bishop in 1861, this man standing at the back of Ajayi on these pictures, he actually worked with Ajayi, but he worked with Ajayi as a chaplain. A chaplain, a priest that stand at the back of the bishop and hold the staff of office of the bishop. And but this name of this young man called Reverend Babington Macaulay. This Reverend Babington Macaulay, the man stand at the back of Ajayi, married daughter of Ajayi, and his name of Ajayi Crowther daughter called Abigail. Abigail, the daughter of Ajayi, was one that gave birth to Abat Macaulay. Abat Macaulay on 1 naira coins is the grandson to Ajayi, but this is the father to Abat Macaulay. His name called Reverend Babington Macaulay.
Babington.
We have the pictures of Reverend Thomas West Freeman. We have the picture of Reverend Henry Townsend. We also have the picture of Reverend C.A. Goman. We also so many of them that live inside of this building, but those that playing the prominent role, and we trying to show them their pictures. So now this is the pictures of the talking about the write-ups, talking about the missionary role in abolition of the slave trade in Badagry. the pictures of the missionary role in abolition of the slave trade in Badagry. So missionary played a role to stop slave trade in Badagry when they started preaching gospel. And later was signed, the letter of the abolition of slave trade was signed in the March 1852. So that's the first abolition of slave trade. But those who signed with those missionaries, we have Meu, Alapa, Sumbu, and Wawu. Those people signed letter of the abolition of slave trade with the missionary. And those people that we're talking about, they are one of the people that sold slave in Badagry, dealing with those Europeans or Americans or Brazil. So they stopped slave trade in Badagry in 1852. But that's the first abolition of slave trade. But finally ended in Badagry in 1888, and it lasted for 400 years. Slave trade. This is the room for the first teacher. This is the room for the Goman, but this is where we see the picture of the early missionary cemetery, where those missionaries were buried. Numbers of those missionaries died and buried in Badagry is 240 of those missionaries. And then this is the chair since 1915. The chair is now 106 years old now. But besides, by my left here, we're saying safe, where all the missionary kept money and some of the valuable items. So we have some olden days money beside us. These are some of the money our people spend in Nigeria, and some of the tourists that coming here dropping this money for us. But all this money is olden days money, but they want us to be showing the new generation coming to seeing this money and to compare it to what we're actually spending now. We have old 1 naira, old 5 naira, old 10 naira. We also have the coins money. We have the shilling, farthing, penny, pounds, and all the money it was introduced to us by the British. Later we changed to our own coins called naira and kobo. So these are the money that we have. The same was established by the missionary in 1856, and that is the where the missionary kept their money and some of the valuable items. It still function. This is the close of the safes. But this is the way we're going down to send things outside about the missionaries. So we are going down from the story building called the first story building in the whole of Nigeria. And this compound here, they actually built so many buildings in this compound, but all the buildings have collapsed. All this one that you are seeing is new buildings. They wanted to be running a school here, but they have stopped them not to be building a new structure inside of this compound. But here we're seeing the well dug by the missionary in 1842. But they tagged the well Miracle Well. Reason the well it was named the Miracle because the well served the whole of people living in Badagry, and the well it have never dry no matter how people come to fetch water. It won't dry, it won't change color. And most other well water in Badagry change color and dry in dry season. But this doesn't dry and it doesn't change color. And this is the only tasteless water that we have in Badagry. Other well water, it have color and it have taste. So people that come in here visit Badagry and visit the first story building. Now people love hear the stories about the well, and when they are going home, they love to be taking the water at home. People added their faith, believing on God and using the water, and the water worked for them, and they name it what? Miracle Well Water. Now we're seeing the church over there. They wrote the church, and that is the where the first church it was built. Although the church is very big, but it have collapsed. When the church collapsed, the management are looking for the fund to building another chapel there, where whenever people come here, they can have a place to just to worship. Now they have the school's master house there. There's a building also was built there also. The building it have collapsed. They also have the small signboard over there, and it's being wrote the boarding house over there. We have the small signboard over there. They wrote boarding house on it. Then a kitchen. We actually built at the back of this building here. Why in the front, where we're seeing the new structure that's going on there, that is where the white men use as vegetable garden and rice garden, tomatoes over there. But government have taken the land from the missionaries now. Then at the end over there, we have the toilet there and the bedrooms over there. But all those buildings, it have
All
collapsed.
new ones.
So I remain Mr. Ezekiel Biabonu. I'm working for the Diocese of Badagry, Anglican Communion Church of Nigeria. I work for them as a curator in charge of this story building built in 1845. That is the first story building in Nigeria. Thank you very much for coming to Badagry, and thank you very much for visiting the first story building in Nigeria. You're welcome, sir.
We thank you so much for the detailed explanations from the beginning to the end, and want to appreciate you for that. Um, Once again, what you're looking at here is the very first story building in Nigeria. Is situated in Badagry. Badagry is a small town in Lagos State, and what you're looking at is still the roof that the building wore from the beginning. And most of the woodwork you see are the original wood used in building it, the bricks. The only thing that is added to it is paints and a little bit of porcelain to fortify it. But this is exactly the structure, the way it was built. Thank you.